Welcome back everybody. This is part 36 on What If Kid Asta Meets Noelle's Mother. I do not own Black Clover or any of the characters in this video. They belong to their own respected authors. Chapter 45. Almost there. William panted as he weakly hurried through the plains, exhausted and heavily injured. Just need to reach the realm. William staggered, his vision blurring slightly, but continued onward until finally seeing a building to what he thought was a church. He staggered to it, panting. Finally, I'm home, he panted. Finally the adrenaline wore off and the exhaustion took its toll as William passed out right in front of the doors. Just as he did, the doors swung open to reveal Father Orsi, who looked around in confusion before he looked down and gasped in shock. "Dear God, this poor man needs help," he yelled. He then carefully but quickly took hold of William and took him inside the church. "Oh Ren, time to wake up." Ren stiffened in her sleep, hearing two very evil voices before curling up tighter, nuzzling the warm chest. "Go away," she mumbled. "Oh come on Ren, can't be in bed all day." One voice said, "Goes for you too, you know." Another voice snickered. Yuno groaned. "5 more minutes," Yuno mumbled. Ren grumbled, opening one eye to see Asta and Noelle with matching grins on their faces. "You're enjoying this," she stated with a mumble. Noelle grinned. She and Asta walked out of the room. "But seriously, you two need to get up, otherwise you'll miss breakfast." "Ugh, fine," Ren groaned, sitting up with a yawn. Yuno groaned again before sitting up. Why are we getting up?" Yuno wondered aloud. Ren pecked Yuno's lips. "Because you have to eat of course." Ren smiled. Yuno grunted out of some irritation, but nonetheless accepted it. Yeah, Yuno remarked. He then blinked. "Wait, who made breakfast here?" "Noelle." "Why?" Ren asked as she stretched. "Noelle," Yuno repeated. "I thought it'd be one of the servants or maids working here." "You know she and Asta aren't used to having servants," she pointed out. "What do you mean?" Yuno asked. "Have I missed something? I thought Noelle would have been the head of House Silva. He's too busy being captain of the Silver Eagles, so the job of being head was given to Noelle and Asta," Ren said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Yuno hummed then nodded. "Yeah, I missed that part," Yuno noted before frowning. "But that just puts a lot on Asta and Noelle's plates." "That's what I said." Asir assured she would help them if they needed it. Ren replied, Kek. "Well, Asta and Noelle's plates may be full." Lieb began as he passed by Ren's room of House Silva. "But they at least don't have to worry about Solid. He's getting trained by Noelle and Courtney, in addition to a few others. That's one thing off Asta and Noelle's plate, although they too need training." "Sounds like a long day." Kane only yawned, walking past Lieb. The devil blinked, along with Ren and Yuno, as well as their spirits. He does realize Lieb is a devil, right?" Faye asked. "I don't think he cares." Ren's sweat dropped. "Well then," Yuno deadpanned before turning to face Ren. "We better go down there. Otherwise Asta and Noelle will probably come back up here to drag us down." "Sounds like them." "Yeah," Lieb agreed, as he continued down the hall. Before going down the stairs, at the end of said hall, Yuno soon got out of the bed and held his hand out to Ren. "Shall we go downstairs?" Yuno asked, smiling lightly at her. Ren smiled happily, taking his hand as the two got up and out of the bed. They were going to change into their regular clothes from their pajamas later, but for now, the two would head downstairs for breakfast made by Asta and Noelle. "Yes, we shall," she chirped. Yuno held her close, making Ren purr happily as they walked out the room and downstairs for the dining room. "Make way for the flaunting couple," Faye announced. "This is gonna be a thing until they're married." Belle groaned. 5 says it'll be worse when they get married. Lieb deadpanned, making Kane groan, his head on the table. "Ugh, don't remind me," Kane groaned in regards to Lieb's words. I don't mind. It was worse when they were pinning," Asta replied, eating his muffin. "Exactly," Noelle groaned, eating bacon. "I mean it would have been quicker if Ren weren't so stubborn." Ren stuck her tongue out at Noelle as she and Yuno took a seat, but Yuno moved his chair closer to Ren, making her purr once more. "Can't you two eat separately?" Kane deadpanned. "No," Yuno replied bluntly. "Besides, even if we were, it'd be in the guest bedroom Ren is using. But then Noelle would get cranky if we did, and I'm not that crazy to deal with a cranky pregnant lady." Ren hummed, sipping her tea. "Good to hear, Ren," Noelle remarked, continuing to eat her breakfast. "Plus I'm not a huge fan of people eating in other rooms, unless I were asked to say yes to it. Case in point. Besides I have him, so I am taking advantage," Ren hummed, leaning against Yuno to his satisfaction. "Ugh," Kane groaned. "Make the lovey-dovey stop. Give them 6 months to get it out of their systems." At least one thought he was dead. the other nearly died. We gave them 6 months, Faye sighed. Oi. Kane groaned loudly as Lieb stood up. Well, I suppose I should get outside to train for a few hours. Lieb spoke. Kek. I know for a fact Asta will join me sooner or later. Asta looked up at Lieb and gave a light smile before going back to eating his breakfast. Thinking of joining them, beloved? Ren asked Yuno. Yuno looked at Ren and shrugged. I don't know, he admitted. I might not. You should. Lieb can give you a challenge. She grinned. But you can give me a better challenge, Yuno countered, making Lieb roll his eyes in annoyance at Yuno's words. You'd just rather spar with someone that you know well. Lieb retorted coolly. Pardon my bluntness, but that shit way of thinking will not help you face off against others you don't know. You need that sense of unfamiliarity. Otherwise, his lips curled up and into a playfully wicked smile. You have no chance of becoming the wizard king of the Clover Kingdom. Yuno opened his mouth to retort, but his communication device interrupted him. Ugh, I gotta answer this, Yuno grumbled, taking out said device and answering it. Hello, an image of the head of the Hage Village Church, Father Orsi. Oh, good, I got through. The elderly man sighed in relief. Your captain is here in Hage. Captain Vengeance, Yuno asked. Is he alright? Wait, how did he end up in Hage? What's this about, William? Ren questioned. Yuno looked over at Ren. Noelle looked up from her breakfast plate to listen in. Asta and Lieb had already gone outside to train, while Kane at this point decided to up and leave for the library within House Silva. Yeah, I'm curious as well. Noelle chimed in. Captain Vengeance is in Hage Village. Yuno eventually answered. He escaped. Faye gasped. He's alive? Ren questioned, shocked. I'm not sure how he ended up in Hage, but he did. Orsi spoke. I and Sister Lily have done the best that we can to heal him. He paused for a good 2 minutes before continuing. As it turns out, the problem isn't wounds like we first thought. We did a blood test on him a little while ago, and it turns out that, well, his mana levels are extremely low. Noelle, Ren, and Yuno looked at each other before turning back to face the image of Father Orsi via Yuno's communications device. Low mana levels can only mean two things. Faye frowned. Either he used a large portion of his magic in order to escape, or they took a large quantity of his mana and left him for dead. Ren finished with a frown. If that is the case, then we need to take him to Elysia. You mean your tribe? Noelle asked, surprised. Our lands are rich in mana. Not only that, but our healers specialize in mana recovery in situations like this. Plus, it'll be easier and quicker for him to be there for his healing process. Ren explained. I can go and get Captain Vengeance from Hage Village and bring him here, Yuno remarked. Then he can be moved to Elysia from there. He put a hand to chin, or perhaps if some Elysia healers are willing, could come to Clover Kingdom to help him recover. I suppose I could see if one of my healers could come here. Ren hummed thoughtfully. Most aren't keen on stepping out of the tribe lands, but I'm sure I can persuade one of them at least. Would you mind giving one of them a call then? Yuno asked, standing up. I'm going to go to Hage to retrieve my captain. Before Noelle or Ren could say anything more, Yuno already left the dining room area of House Silva and had already headed outside. Hilariously enough, not long after Yuno left, Ren's own communicator began to blip. Ren blinked, then pulled her communicator out of her pocket. Who is it? Noelle asked. Your mom, apparently, Ren answered, a light frown present on her face as she answered the call. Yes, Asir. Aren, I'm happy you answered. Queen Asir's image appeared, a light smile on her face. Did you sneak out of the infirmary again? Ren asked with a deadpan expression. Wah, of course not, Queen Asir retorted innocently. Yet if Noelle and Ren looked closely at the background of the call, they'd notice that Queen Asir was within the throne room of the Clover Kingdom castle. Damn it, fledgling. We talked about this. Ren scowled, pinching the bridge of her nose. Noelle glanced at Ren, then at the image of her mother. Even she too, felt herself mentally facepalming at her mother's antics. Mother. Noelle sighed. What? This is important, Queen Asir replied, making somewhat of a pouty face. More important than your recovery. Ren frowned. Yes, Queen Asir nodded. After many hours of work from Julius and Makuza, they finally managed to reform mana from the blood sample they got from Asta. That's great news. Noelle smiled brightly. What magic did Asta, or I guess now, have? Star magic, Queen Asir answered excitedly. Star magic, Ren blinked. Oh, that takes me back centuries ago. That magic is practically a lost relic in this era, Faye remarked. Until now anyway. Ren hummed. What do you mean? Noelle asked. Star magic is very rare magic. On the same level as moon magic, you'd only see magic like that with an elf tribe or a royal family. Faye explained. The last star magic user I met was a prince I met centuries ago. A prince? Noelle repeated, her curiosity not faltering. Yeah, though I don't recall which kingdom at that time. The naming situation was still being established. Faye replied, so Asta having this magic is surprising. Well, he doesn't have it yet, Queen Asir corrected. He'll need to go to Julius and Makuza to get it, which leads me to my next point, which is, Ren asked, if you're willing, Ren dear, would you go with Asta? Queen Asir asked the Elysia elf tribe leader. Julius and Makuza will also no doubt suggest that you teach him the basics. I don't expect you'll need to do much teaching. Since Asta is such a fast learner, it's more of just in case, and if he needs any help or questions, I can teach him the mana control and such, but the actual magic he'll need to learn on his own, spell formations and such. Ren pointed out, that's fine. Queen Asir nodded. Asta, or you should be receiving a call from Julius on this soon. Alternatively, you could go get Asta and go now. Right, but it'll have to be a moment. Ren sighed. Received a call from the father of his church? It seems William is in Hage Village. Oh, Queen Asir wondered aloud. I wonder how he got there. Regardless, I take it you plan to wait for Yuno to come back before pushing forward on anything else. No, according to Father Orsi, William has been drained of a large portion of his mana, most likely by the Dark Triad before being left for dead. I plan to contact my tribe and see if one of my healers will come here in order to see him. Ren explained. Oh, then yes, please do that, Ren dear, Queen Asir agreed. Right, once I do that, Asta and I will go see Lord Julius, Ren said, before glaring at Asir, making her meet, and you, young lady, will march right back to the infirmary, and return to your cot, or so help me, I will form my Seraph Knight to carry you there like a sack of potatoes, and make sure you stay there. Understood. Queen Asir fiddled with her fingers and her lips formed a sheepish smile. Can't I just sleep in my bed in the Clover Castle? Queen Asir asked. No, 'cause you need healers checking on you and it'll be easier for you to sneak out if you stay in your castle bedroom. Ren deadpanned. You need rest and you are gonna get it. Are we clear? Yes, Ren dear. Queen Asir spoke in a slightly deflated or defeated tone. Good. Now you better be there by the time me and Asta show up or you're in big trouble. Ren warned. I'll be there. Queen Asir replied. Goodbye, Ren dear. See you later today. And with that, she hung up. Noelle's mouth was slightly agape, glancing at Ren with said shocked expression on her face. After a few minutes of silence, Noelle finally finds the words in her mouth and begins to speak. Slight shock was still evident within her tone of voice as she spoke her words towards Ren, hence the slight pause when Noelle begins to speak towards Ren on the matter. Ren being able to keep her mother, Queen Asir Silva, in line. How are you able to do that? Noelle asked Ren. Keeping mother in line like that, I mean, we're her children, and she doesn't listen to us when we tell her she's going overboard, or when she needs a rest. Tell me, what's your secret? It's really no secret, Ren sighed. I've known her since she was a child, plus power-wise I'm practically her only equal besides Julius. Add in the fact I'm older than her. It's not hard. Noelle's mouth made an O before she nodded. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Noelle nodded. Quite. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to contact Koji next to get a healer to Hage Village, Ren replied. But isn't Yuno bringing Captain Vengeance back here? Noelle questioned. It wouldn't really make sense to send a healer to Hage Village if Yuno is bringing his captain back to House Silva, at least for the time being. That's only if William is unconscious. Knowing that man, he'll be demanding to be sent to a dungeon instead, believing himself as a traitor to the kingdom for allowing Patri control of his body to go with his plan for genocide on humanity. Ren sighed. By the time I get a healer, Yuno will most likely be still arguing with William, so I'll be sending them to Hage to make things easier. And with who I have in mind, I will get him here easier than Yuno. Who do you have in mind? Noelle asked curiously. Ren smiled lightly. Let's just say a certain healer that gets the job done, she reassured Noelle, a playful, but also wicked, smile on her lips. For now, you just finish your breakfast, and you can keep training in your conditions so long as it's not overboard, but once you're swollen you have to stay in bed rest. Roggel's apparition appeared next to Noelle. That won't be an issue, Roggel told Ren, because Noelle will be doing mental magic training with me, and I will make sure she doesn't strain herself too much. I should hope so. Otherwise I'll be after your hide next, Ren said with an innocent smile that made Roggel shudder. Hey, I'm not like Jihol, Roggel countered. As I said, I should hope so, because, agents of God or not, I won't hesitate to give you angels, proper punishment, Ren smiled, before walking away, a snickering Faye on her shoulder. Noelle and Rogel shuddered. Scary, Kane remarked, chewing on a muffin nonchalantly. Yes, she is scary, Noelle agreed before she deadpanned, which is probably something Yuno loves about her, besides him just naturally loving Ren for who she is. Like how you love your knucklehead of a husband, Kane stated, sipping his tea. Yes, I do. Noelle smiled lightly, and I do not regret it. Neither does he, I bet. Kane smirked. I don't see why he would regret it, Noelle remarked. Forced marriage by mother or not, it's better this way. Oh no, I meant Despite the fact my niece was in denial about liking him, Kane scoffed. Oh, yes, Noelle laughed. I don't believe regrets it either. You know the saying of love at first sight, right? That was basically and your niece. Well, more specifically with but my point still stands. Ugh, don't remind me. Despite the fact I was asleep inside him, I could still feel his emotions, and it was driving me crazy with him being smitten with her. Kane grunted. Pfft, Noelle snickered. And don't get me started on the dreams too. Kane scowled. This however just made Noelle laugh even more. Oh, do tell. Let me put it to you this way, Kane scoffed. He already has a good idea on their wedding. At that remark, Noelle went into full-blown laughter. Ha 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 ha. Noelle laughed. Oh wow, this far in advance too. He's dreamed of her in the wedding dress, you tell me, Kane deadpanned. So the entire wedding then, Noelle replied, after she finished laughing. That's just, oh my god, that's just too rich. She paused, then continued. Hey, what do you plan to do? I think Licht is in the library now. I did see him get up from the table by the corner of my eye earlier and he seemed to be heading in that direction. There are still things I want to do myself given I have my own body now. Plus I still need to get my own grimoire for my magic, Kane said. I'll get to know my father and niece soon enough, but there are things I wish to learn about myself as an individual. Given the fact I died in the womb and have been brought back as a full-grown adult now, ironically by the hands of Zogred, the one who took practically everything from you. Noelle frowned deeply. Yes, fate is ironic like that, Kane replied lightly. Regardless, my grimoire comes first. I'll ask Ren where to go before she leaves with Asta. Damn it, Captain. Will you stop being so stubborn? What are you talking about, William asked. I'm not being stubborn. I am simply stating facts. You can be reciting the rules of a magic knight for all I care. But the fact is you're malnourished, injured, drastically low in mana, and just plain weakened. You need to come with me to see a healer. Scowled, staring down at his captain, who was laid on one of the church beds. I don't need a healer, William remarked. Besides, I see this more as my punishment. No being tortured and forcibly drained of your mana by the same people who forced a devil contract on me as your punishment. Deadpanned. Now you need to recover. Recover, William repeated before shaking his head. I don't deserve it. Oh, for the love of. Bell groaned. Just knock him out, bind him with liable tempest, then carry him back. This is going nowhere. He's still my captain, deadpanned. And I rather not have to explain to the Wizard King or Queen Aesir what happened. Father Orsi sweat dropped, watching his foster son argue with his spirit and captain before hearing the door and walking to it as Belle groaned loudly. While he's not listening to reason, she scowled. It'll be easier just to knock him out. I'm not going to do that, retorted firmly. As tempting as it is to do so, I will not. I knew we should have let Ren come with us. She would have stared him down into submission. Belle scoffed. Glanced at Belle, then back at his very stubborn captain on whether he should be allowed to recover or not. Yeah, I suppose we should have brought Ren with us. Agreed. No duh, Belle yelled. Well, I can definitely see what Ren meant. The three quickly looked to see Father Orsi with him, a cloaked individual stepping up. I'm sorry, but she said she was sent by Ren, Father Orsi explained. Sent by Ren? Questioned. The individual removed her hood to reveal a pretty female elf with long, pale gold blonde hair tied back by a sunflower, aquamarine eyes, pale skin, and after removing her cloak, showed to wear a gray-white dress with a braided belt around her waist, and brown sandals. My name is Alina. I am one of the healers in the Elysia tribe. Ren asked me to come here in regards to a William vengeance, she explained. Oh, that's good, remarked, because my captain is being super stubborn about this. Yeah, Ren warned me about that. Alina nodded, looking at William, and I see this is him, and already I can tell his mana range is at embers. Those bastards nearly drained him to the bone. I can tell, groaned. And yet even still, he's still being stubborn. Honestly, Alina sighed. She walked over to William, getting a good look at his face. And malnourished. Clearly hasn't been fed or drank any water in days. I can smell the dry blood on him as well. And no doubt unable to sleep either. She frowned, reaching for William, who quickly moved back. There is no need for you to do anything. Before William could continue, Alina grabbed his chin and moved him forward. Behave, she deadpanned. You are a 26-year-old man who has been through hell for who knows how long and needs proper treatment, and I refuse to hear any self-hating and self-blaming smack talk to avoid the necessary treatment you need in order to survive, because at the end of the day, you are still one of the magic knight captains of this kingdom, who will be necessary in protecting the citizens here from those things we call the Dark Triad. Yes, giving your body to a genocidal, angsty, emo elf spirit was idiotic on your part. But if you wish to make up for what you did, then recover and protect the people like you should, because it is your job to do like how it is my job to help you recover as a healer. Are we clear? And Belle gasped at Alina's words, while William just looked down. Yes, William spoke softly. Good. Alina nodded, letting William go and looked at a gaping And I take it. I would like for you to use your winds to take us to the Silva Manor to keep William in a private environment without chance of others coming in to give him a chance to relax and to focus on recovery. All right, I was going to do that, remarked, but my captain was being quite stubborn. Regardless, I'll do it now. Excellent. I'll need you to help carry him then and we'll be off. Alina smiled. Come along. Alina walked outside as the others watched her. What just happened? Belle yelled. The healer Ren sent put Captain Vengeance into submission. Answered. Far better and faster than me. Regardless, come on Belle. Yeah. Belle rolled her eyes. Just carry your captain with your winds. That Aesir better be in that infirmary or so help me. Asta followed Ren inside the palace of the kingdom to see Julius. I still can't believe you can get Queen Aesir to submit like that, Asta remarked. Like I said, it's not hard. Ren shrugged. Huh, Asta mused. Regardless, we're going to see the Wizard King first. We could see Lady Aesir after that, and if she isn't in the infirmary, Faye said, looking to Ren. Hunting, Ren confirmed. Oh dear. Asta gulped. They then reached the research lab where they went inside, seeing an excited Julius talking with Makuza, while Max tried to calm him down. Sir, please, I know you're excited, but you might accidentally break something in this research lab if you keep your excitement levels up so high, Marx told Julius in a scolding mannerism. Despite his words, Julius ultimately seemed to ignore him. Julius heel, Ren deadpanned, making the three jump. Oh, hello Ren. Julius greeted the bluette. I take it you got me in Makuza's call then? From Aesir. Yes, Ren said. Good. Julius smiled. Now then, Makuza will explain how this will work. Makuza nodded and stepped forward. Think of this like an IV. Makuza began. With that, you're putting fluids into your body to help it. This is similar. We will be injecting the mana into you, Asta. Of course, for a time, you will need to inject mana doses on a daily basis. This will enable your body to get used to it before being able to use it as a means to reproduce the mana naturally. How long does Asta need to take the mana doses until his body gets used to it? Ren asked. Makuza looked at Julius for a brief moment, then looked back at Asta and Ren. That solely depends on Asta's body. Makuza frowned. Because he's been manaless his entire life, up until now, it will probably take his body. I'd say about 2 to 3 years to get used to it. Of course, this is just a guess and nothing more. It could take 2 to 3 years, as I said, or it could take 1.5 years, or even less than that. But it could also take more time, Julius added. Regardless of how long it takes for his body to get used to the mana, he will need someone to do the mana injections for him, preferably you or Noelle. There's also the possibility that my body gets used to it right away, right? Asta questioned. We can't rush it, Asta. Ren frowned. Asta turned to Ren and nodded. I know Ren, he replied, but it is a possibility, right? It is, but the chances are low, given you've been manaless your entire life. If we inject it into your body all at once, it would be too harsh on your body with negative effects, Makuza warned. Indeed, Julius agreed. For example, you could get extremely sick. That is something none of us want. He laughed awkwardly. And if you ended up getting sick because of me and Makuza's work, I know Noelle, Aesir, and quite possibly Ren, would have my and Makuza's heads. You're learning. Ren smiled. I am, yes. Julius laughed lightly as Makuza handed Asta a box. This box holds the needle and mana tubes you will need to have injected into you. Makuza told Asta. When you start running low, you will need to call me so I can make refills. Sounds like a plan. Ren nodded. How many are in here? Asta wondered aloud. A year's worth, Makuza answered. Plenty then, Ren replied. Come on Asta, let's head back and do the first dose. Alright Ren. Asta smiled lightly. Thanks Wizard King sir, Mr. North, of course. Makuza nodded. Asta and Ren walked in the Silva manor as Ren closed the door. Now then, we should get started for the first. For the love of God William Vengeance, hold still. You make it look as if I haven't seen a male naked before. An aggravated Alina shouted from upstairs. I have to clean the dry blood and dirt off of you. I can do it myself thank you very much. A flustered sounding William shouted. Like hell you can. You look ready to pass out in the tub. Alina shouted. Oh looks like she got him here. Ren remarked unfazed by the shouting. Yeah, she did, Asta remarked. That means probably dropped his captain off and left. But before we do that dose, I should probably see how Noelle's doing. You can do that after we give you the dose, Ren said. Better to do it now rather than later. Ugh, my head, Noelle groaned as walked out of the living room area of the house's main floor. All that shouting not only woke me up, but it gave me a headache. She looked up and noticed Asta and Ren. Oh, you two are back, that's good. Yup, just about to give Asta his first mana dose, Ren replied. Mana dose, Noelle repeated before she realized what that meant. Oh, now I see. Mind if I watch? I'm going to have to learn to do it myself at some point. Better start to learn now rather than later. My thoughts exactly. Ren nodded as they walked to the dining hall. Okay, Asta, sit down and we can get started. Alright. Asta pulled out one of the dining room chairs and sat down on it. Ren got to work with the four, placing the first dose connected with the tube before tying the needle. Okay, the needle is all set, Ren hummed. Upon seeing the needle, Asta flinched and started to move away. Unfortunately for him, since he was sitting in a chair, he couldn't move back too much. Otherwise he'd make the chair tilt backwards, thus ultimately could end up hurting himself. I know Mr. North said it was like an IV, but still, Asta groaned. Why can't I just drink the liquefied mana instead? 'Cause that's the equivalent of pouring molten lava down your throat. Ren deadpanned. What's the big deal? It's just a needle. Exactly. Asta partially shouted. Noelle blinked at Asta's squeamish attitude towards the needle, then started giggling. Asta turned to face Noelle and gave her a frustrated yet pouty look. What's so funny Noelle? Pfft, ha ha ha. Noelle laughed. I'm sorry, but you, afraid of a needle? Asta, you train daily. You've fought against powerful opponents like Patry and one of the Diamond Kingdom's shining generals, and a Dreyfus, yet you're afraid of a tiny needle. I'm sorry, but I can't help but laugh. Plus, you're the first person to jump headfirst into danger without any regard for your safety, Ren added with a deadpan expression. Yet a tiny needle freaks you out. Ha ha ha. Faye laughed. Yes, Asta shouted in a high-pitched tone. Everyone has a fear, right? Well, look, you need the dose. So we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Ren sighed. Asta looked at Noelle, who looked back at Asta. Then the two looked at Ren. I take it the easy way is to just let it happen, Noelle remarked. And the hard way would be, Asta trailed off, as if he knew what the hard was. This. Ren snapped her fingers for ropes of light to tie up Asta on the chair. Ack, Asta yelped. Okay, I get your point. Ren smirked as she got out a tourniquet before wrapping it around Asta's upper left bicep before taking his forearm and lightly tapped it. Okay, see a vein, she hummed. Getting the needle, she easily pierced Asta's forearm with the needle making him yelp. With his free hand, Asta grabbed Noelle's hand that was closest to him and lightly squeezed it. Let me know when it's over. Asta spoke softly to Noelle. Noelle looked at Asta and nodded, glancing at the IV. It's already in, Ren assured. Starting the 4, she watched as the mana was transferred from the vial through the tube and in Asta's arm. Feel anything? Other than the pain of the needle? I do feel the mana coming in, Asta answered. Any tingling? Anything at all? Ren asked. What do you mean by that? Asta asked, completely oblivious to the fact that he was indeed feeling a tingling sensation. By the mana Asta, Ren's sweat dropped. You've never had mana in your body your entire life. Does it feel like anything to you? He's getting a tingling feeling, Noelle remarked. He just hasn't noticed it himself yet. Of course he hasn't, Ren sighed. Then they heard grumbling and looked up to see a ruffled Alina walking down the stairs. Honestly, he makes my children patients look well behaved, she scoffed. You can see why I called you to come here, Ren smiled, amused. Oh, yeah, laugh it up. Giving me a highly difficult patient. Alina scowled, undoing her tie and ran a hand through her hair. It's gonna take months for him to be healthy enough physically, and that's not even adding into his mana depletion. Think you can help him with that? Ren asked. I got a spell for it, but if what you told me about his normal mana quantity is true, then it's gonna be a long process. Alina frowned. He needs to stay in bed, which means no magic night duties whatsoever, and to keep someone next to him when I'm not around so he won't try to do something behind my back. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. I'll be sure to tell Julius, Ren said. Thank you. Now I have to go to the kitchen to make his meal, Alina said. Going off to the kitchen, Noelle watched Alina go before turning to face Ren. So she's the healer you called, Noelle noted. Yep, Alina, she's an elf hybrid like myself, and one of the best healers in the tribe, second only to the head healer. Ren smiled, and with a sharp tongue to boot. I figured she'd be the best person to deal with the stubborn one upstairs. Makes sense to me, Noelle hummed, looking back at the IV. Oh, it's done, it seems. Ah, good, Ren hummed. She got a piece of gauze to press down on the injection spot before removing the needle and securing it, and they're all done. It wasn't so bad. Yes, it was, Asta groaned as Noelle put tape on the gauze to secure it. Even if you don't get used to it, you still have to do it, Noelle told him. I know it's a pain, but it's necessary. Especially when you want to use magic, Ren added, putting away the equipment. Asta only groaned loudly in response, knowing full well that not only was his wife right, but so was Ren. Yes, I know, he spoke in a defeated tone. Good boy, Ren smiled. Now I'll go check on William. All right, Ren, Noelle nodded. Oh, before you go, I talked to Kane earlier today. Think you could at some point lead him to a grimoire tower? If he's going to be helping us in these upcoming fights, he's going to need a grimoire. Yeah, you do have a point. I'll take him to the one near Hage after I see William. Ren hummed. Isn't it getting a bit late though? Noelle pointed out. Please, I got mine in the dead of night. Ren shrugged. Besides, if it ends up being a 4-leaf clover, I would rather not have him deal with the attention swarming in. That's fair. Noelle hummed. Come on, Asta. We should probably go upstairs ourselves. Ren went upstairs to a guest room to find a ruffled and freshly cleaned William sitting on the bed, making her smile in amusement. Well, you look fresh. She smirked. William looked up to see Ren as she came in. You sent her, didn't you? He accused. I did. Ren grinned. She's a menace. William groaned. She wouldn't have to be if you weren't so stubborn. Ren smirked. Ugh. William groaned. At any rate, she'll be in charge of your recovery, which means no work for you. Ren replied. What? William questioned. Yep. Ren nodded. How do you feel? Tired, William remarked. Well, that's to be expected. It's gonna be some months until you fully recover, she replied. Sorry, but I can't sit idly while my squad needs me, William retorted. Your squad is gonna be watched by me, since I'll be supervising their training to learn mana method and to improve their mana skills, she smirked. Which means you can focus on your recovery. William once again groaned at Ren's words, this time in defeat, even if he'd never say it aloud. He knew Ren was right. As long as you don't kill them, then I'll allow it, William eventually replied. What makes you think I'd kill them? She asked with a raised eyebrow. While William began, you can be a bit scary. Me scary? I'd never. Ren fake gasps. Yes. William spoke tiredly. Don't worry, they'll be fine. She smirked. Once you eat, just get some rest. Right. William spoke softly. But where's Alina? Went to the kitchen to make you something. Ren replied. Oh. William spoke. I wonder what it'll be. Then the door opened to reveal Alina coming in with a tray that had a bowl and a glass of water. Okay, I'm back. Now since you haven't eaten in ages, we'll need to start you off with something malleable for your stomach to handle, Alina said, walking past Ren to set the tray on William's lap. I prepared a warm broth and a glass of water. If this goes well, we'll check more solid foods next. All right. William nodded as he took the spoon from the tray and began to eat the broth. Going down okay? Alina asked. Does it feel like it'll come up? No, it's quite good. William spoke. Okay, good. Try to finish the entire bowl, but don't force yourself. Got it? She told him. Got it. William nodded. Well, I'll leave you to be then. If he gets difficult, be sure to tell Julius. He's the only one William listens to, Ren replied, going for the door. Oh, believe me, I will, Alina scoffed. William looked up at Ren, then at Alina, then back at Ren. A slightly embarrassed look appeared on his facial features. After a few seconds, he looked back down at broth and water on the food tray before him. Hey, William mumbled. William, I heard enough about you to know how you tick, Ren smirked. Leaving the room, Alina watched her leader go before glancing at William. You know she's right, you're quite predictable, she replied. What do you mean that I'm predictable? William questioned. You're easy to read, naive, and quite innocent for a man your age, Alina stated. Considering how my life was when I was younger, that probably has something to do with it, William replied. And then Julius found me, gave me a place to call home. He laughed hoarsely. I don't even remember my family's home. I take it that it was because of the birthmark on your face? Alina asked. William turned to look at Alina and nodded. Yes, but this isn't a birthmark, William answered. It's a curse. A curse? Alina questioned. Yes, William nodded. Though I do not know who did it to me, nor do I know who cursed Charlotte. Yummy apparently freed Charlotte from her curse around 10 years ago. But what sort of curse is it? Does it harm you in some way? Alina questioned, taking a good look at the marking. Not that I can tell, no, William remarked. It's probably related to one of those stories where those that bear this mark are destined for misfortune or something. Oh, that's a bunch of malarkey, Alina scoffed, waving her hand. It's just a mark on your face. It's not gonna hurt anyone, let alone you. Yeah, tell that to my mother, William mumbled. She despised me to no end, hated me with a passion. Because of this, Mark saw me as a defective child. The only person who never treated me differently besides Julius was Patry. Even if it paints me as naive, I truly understood Patry's feelings. I suppose that's why me and him got along so well. He shrugged before continuing. I don't know. That's just my viewpoint on my relationship between myself and Patry. Maybe he feels nothing towards me, but I do towards him. In regards to your mother, she was just the plain old stereotypical noble woman who cares only of appearances and status, and would step on anyone to get higher status. To put it simply, she was a monster, Alina scoffed. And as for Patry, despite understanding his pain, you should have known he was unstable, dangerous. And as for Patry, despite understanding his pain, you should have known he was unstable, dangerous, and a menace to humans who had nothing to do with what happened to his tribe ages ago. If you had really wanted to help him, then you should have done what your Wizard King did for you instead of letting him take control of your body and nearly wiped out an innocent kingdom. Anger doesn't help nor save anyone. Pain doesn't justify one's actions. Trying to get back at someone, feeling as if you have the right to do something similar to what was done to you just makes you the same as them. You have to be the bigger person in these sorts of things. And to prove those tragedies don't define you, you have to learn to use those experiences to make you better as a person. That was something your Wizard King wanted for you, to give you the chance to be who you want to be, and not let the words of your mother define and rule your existence. William took in all of Alina's words and had them go on repeat in his head several times. After several minutes of silence and him taking a few more sips of the broth and a sip or two of the water, William finally spoke. Yeah, you're right, William replied. Oh, Alina asked. I've been letting my mother and Patry define who I am, William answered. I won't let that be the case anymore. Though this won't stop me from trying to keep my friendship with Patry. In the end, no matter how heinous his acts were, I still care about him. Nothing you or Ren say about him will change my mind about it. We all know that. That's why I said you're quite innocent for a man your age, Alina smirked. But if he keeps acting smart with Ren, don't bother trying to save him from her wrath, especially when he deserves it. As long as Ren doesn't kill him for anything stupid he says, then I won't say or do anything to intervene, William replied. Good, you're learning. As for your squad and companions, if you want to start regaining trust again with them, I suggest not hiding your face, Alina replied. Ren told me you used to wear a mask given to you by your Wizard King to hide your face, but if you want to regain trust, you'll need to be more open, and that would be a good start. Right, William nodded. From now on, I'll show my face to them. He then frowned. The only problem with that is, there is the possibility that they'll reject me. I don't want to experience that ever again. I highly doubt that's gonna happen, she scoffed. From what I heard, you have quite the loyal squad. Despite what you've done, even that, was still worried about you, even though he doesn't show it. And it's clear your Wizard King still views and values you as a comrade and ally. So I'm sure it'll be the same for your fellow captains as well. Besides, William jumped when Alina touched his cheek, gently stroking his temple and giving a light smile. You're quite the looker, Mark and all, she admitted. Wah. William felt his face heating up at Alina's words. Oh, yeah, especially your eyes. Such a lovely shade of purple, like an amethyst. Alina hummed. William gasped, his face becoming redder by the second. What? It's the truth. Oh wait, you don't get compliments that often, do you? She asked, mildly amused. William shook his head, confirming what Alina had said. That's the truth, William remarked sadly. Alina looked surprised, but then smiled, patting his back. Well, I'll know what to do while helping you recover, she remarked. And pray tell, what's that? William asked, somewhat afraid of the answer. Why? Complimenting you and help you feel good about yourself, of course. After all, I'm not just here to help you heal physically, but mentally as well. She smiled. William nodded at Alina's words a bit numbly. Right, he spoke softly. She then saw his empty bowl and cup and took the tray. Looks like you were able to keep it down. We'll try a slightly larger portion tomorrow and see if you can swallow some bread, she hummed. Now we'll be starting the treatment. Treatment, William repeated. For your mana, she said, getting out her grimoire and opening it. Sunflower recovery magic. Blessed flower. Growing from her magic was a beautiful sunflower as it shined a pale gold light onto William. This recovery spell helps one recover their mana, but of course, your mana reserves are very low, so we'll do this a few times a day and every night while you sleep, she explained. Oh, William spoke softly. So this is what you meant by treatment. That's right, but for right now you just get some good sleep, something you haven't had in a long while and deserve, she said, gently settling him on the bed and tucked him in. Right, William mumbled. Night. Good night, William. She smiled gently. Would it be alright if you stayed in here? William asked. She looked surprised for a moment before she gently smiled, pulling up the chair by his bedside and sat down. Thanks, you're welcome. Now sweet dreams. She smiled. I can't promise that. William laughed softly. I can when I'm here, she chuckled, rubbing his hand. Right, William replied. She smiled as she watched him slowly fall asleep as she relaxed on her chair. Okay, this is the place. The next morning, probably around noon, Ren stood in front of the same grimoire tower she received her grimoire years ago, with Kane next to her, both wearing cloaks with their hoods up. Come on, let's go in, Ren replied. Right, Kane nodded, heading inside the tower. Once they stepped inside, they put down their hoods and looked at the grimoires within. There's way more in here than I thought there'd be, Kane noted. Well, this tower gives grimoires to not just the ones in this village, but the neighboring ones as well, Ren explained. Well, that makes sense, Kane remarked. Which village is this then? The village where your boyfriend grew up? No, actually, Hage is the next village over, but he did come here to get his grimoire, she replied. Kane hummed as he continued to look around the inside of the grimoire tower. Each grimoire design caught his eye due to their uniqueness. I wonder what my grimoire will be like, Kane hummed to himself, though I may not even get one, since I may be over the age of 15. Well, if Patry was able to gain his while using William's body, then I'm sure you can gain yours, she replied. Oh yeah, that idiot got his grimoire through William's body, Kane grunted, except Patry was 15 at the time. Still, I'm more so curious on what mine will be. You mean how many leaves it'll have? She asked amused. Kane only humphed before responding. Something like that, yes, he grunted. My magic has already been determined, so that's not a non-issue at this point. Very true, she hummed, looking around. So really all it comes down to is your grimoire. Imagine if it was a 4-leaf clover grimoire, Kane snickered. Ha. Well, given how I have a 4-leaf clover, your father has a 4-leaf clover, and your human incarnation has a 4-leaf clover, luck might just be with you, Ren snickered. We shall. But before Kane could finish, a green orid grimoire flew out of one of the shelves and down to him, and just as they were talking about, it's a 4-leaf clover grimoire. See? Ren finished with a grin. Oh wow, Kane muttered. I guess I have a 4-leaf clover grimoire too. Bwahahaha, your family just breaks the traditional sense of 4-leaf clovers. They laughed. I guess it does, Kane remarked. What's next? I gain a spirit. Bella's with Yuno and she ain't leaving him anytime soon. Faye smirked. Oh I know, Kane remarked. But my magic is vortex magic. Still wind-based, Faye pointed out. Kane only humphed at Faye's words, not fazed by them whatsoever. He then crossed his arms and grunted again, feeling some form of irritation from Faye. Enough, you two, we got the grimoire, so best we get going, Ren said, putting up her hood. Kane has training to do, and I have to go to Golden Dawn to train them. Kane wondered. Why go there? A while back Asir asked me to help teach the magic knights here on the Heart Kingdom's mana method, and since William is in no condition to lead, You can say I'm sort of a pseudo-leader for them until he's back on his feet while teaching them the Mana method, Ren explained. Plus it's her boyfriend's squad. Need I say more? Faye smirked. Heh, fair. Kane snickered. Oh shut up Faye, and let's go. Ren scoffed, hiding her red face. Sure niece. Kane snickered. End of chapter 45. Link down to the comments if you want to read the rest of the story. I hope you all enjoy. Goodbye.